Dan, always a pleasure to see you, man.
Thank you very much. Good to see you too, Judd.
So, a year and a half long shoot. That's
Yeah.
a long shoot for 2 films at least. You get 2 films out of the
Absolutely,
bargain.
yes.
But was it safe to say this was the most grueling, the most taxing one for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's why whenever people are saying, oh, you must have been really sad on that last day, I think, well, yeah, we were also knackered. Like, we were also quite happy to, like, have some time off.
Did you sleep for like 16 hours the next day? Were you...
No, I was at, like, I think it was the next day I was at the Tony Awards or something, presenting
right.
an award next to Katie Holmes. Thank you for putting me with the tallest woman you could find. Yeah, it was a very emotional last day, but there was one side of us that was very sad to finish it all, but, on the other hand, we have been filming for a long time. And it was also the most kind of chaotic of the films, I think, to make as well. There was, because we were chopping and changing between movies, and we'll be going from scene 10 one day to scene 300 and something.
Right.
There's so much changes in that point when it comes to costume and makeup and look and all of that. And then often you do one scene and then you be getting rewrites for it. A scene you're doing the next day, and it was just because the pressure was on us so much to make this film the best, to make both these films the best. I think we were all there was a slightly more panicked feel about the whole thing,
Right.
which is understandable.
Does it also feel like, it struck me in seeing the film the other day that, obviously the films always rest on you and Rupert and Emma, but more so than ever, honestly, in this one. I mean, the adults, they have their moments, but they recede into the background quite a bit,
Definitely.
and it's your film, the 3 of you. Added responsibility, excitement, like what are the emotions associated with that for you?
I think that's great. I mean, I think what's very special about this film is that because we're not in Hogwarts, it just gives the whole thing a much, we're not in school, we're not in school uniform, so it's harder to see us as school kids, so we automatically feel more adult. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of great to have that responsibility, but in a way it didn't feel like that at the time, because we were, one day we'd be doing a scene with maybe just me and Emma, or just myself and Rupert, but then a week later we'd be doing the wedding scene with everybody. So because of the way the shoot was broken up, it never felt, I suppose that's one pressure we didn't feel, was that we were carrying the movie, which we kind of are when you see it, because it is, for a lot of it, it's just us 3. I also think that's what's great about David as a storyteller, because he can, those long periods of the film where, we just keep apparating and waking up in a forest,
Right.
and all that stuff. But while that stuff could have felt quite samey, the journey of the film means that each time that happens, it sort of takes on a different tone, I think.
I want to talk to you briefly. We talked a few months back, Trevor Project, obviously something very close to your heart. And since then, it's been an interesting time in that.
Yeah.
I mean, a great thing in that celebrities, to a man, have come out and talked about being in support of, against this horrible bullying stuff that's been going on, these horrible teen suicides.
Yeah.
And how's it struck you seeing like all these, celebrities, whether it's Madonna or whoever, kind of speak to this cause now?
I mean, it's the more attention and the more publicity and the more awareness that can be raised, by everybody for this cause. It is such a good cause, and such an important thing, and it's not just about, and what's interesting to me is that it has taken on a wider meaning than just the Trevor Project and just people who are lesbian, gay, or bisexual, or transgender. It's taken on just a kind of, for everybody who has ever felt victimised or ostracised by other people in their class or in their community. It's taken on a kind of wider meaning, which is, I think, amazing. And now with the kind of added responsibility that teachers now have of kind of actually taking a lead on fighting bullying, and they are now, I think, being held more accountable for that. I think that's a massive step forward, and very, very important. And it's on, and the Trevor Project is now, I believe there's a link to it from the President's page, and amazing stuff has been happening, and it is, I think, indicative of the spirit of the organisation that is the Trevor Project, that out of such tragic circumstances that we've seen, like those we've seen over the last few months, they are managing to push forward to a brighter sort of solution to this problem. That is the ethos of that of everyone who works for the Trevor Project is one of, you know, turning awful, appalling events and trying to actually, because you don't control the circumstances, you can only control how you react to them. And the Trevor Project always reacts in a positive and forward-thinking way. It's amazing.
Career-wise, you've wrapped Women in Black. Have you?
No. We're still we're on a 10-day hiatus while I do all the publicity for Potter, and then we're going off to, I think we've got about 4 more weeks of filming. But it's like a 9-week shoot or something in total. It's mad.
Does it feel like a totally different kind of movie making and totally different kind of movie?
Yeah,
for
we're
you?
doing like 5 or 6 scenes a day, you know, as opposed to maybe 7 setups, which is probably what we got on Potter. So it's faster. It's, you know, it's just, I'm loving it, to be honest. It's very, very exciting, and also to be working with still a great cast of actors. I mean, it's, you know, people, you know, I keep working with these incredible casts where, you know, Kieran Hines is in this movie along with Janet McTeer, who's this incredible actress. I'm not sure how well known she is in the States, but she does a huge amount of theatre in England and on. And she was on Broadway not long ago as well. And but she's not as known for film, but she's just a most magnificent actress. And so we've got people like them in it, and it's just it's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
Are you expecting an angry email or a bouquet of flowers from Robert Pattinson after your Simpsons turn?
I think, you know, I've had there have been Harry Potter references in The Simpsons and Harry Potter references in South Park, and I find it all so cool and funny and flattering, and I'm sure Rob's got a sense of humour about it. You know, you cannot be in a film as big as either Twilight or Potter and not have a pretty good sense of humour about yourself. So I'm sure I'll be getting a bouquet of flowers. My favourite joke in the whole episode, though, is when Milhouse goes, "It's the change," and then just turns into a poodle suddenly. that I love.
Well, you know, we know that a media firestorm always erupts when she opens her mouth, and it indeed happened on Oprah recently, where she left the door slightly ajar on more Potter, and you've been answering this question a lot.
Yeah.
But what can you tell me? I mean, where's your head at? Do you think there's any possibility? What has Joe said? Give me something.
I think Joe was being very kind to a lot of people by, you know, giving them that little bit of hope, and, you know, me that mild heart attack. But, you know, I've been doing this for 10 years. I would be, you know, a team of surgeons would be needed to reapply my jaw to my face if she did this. I would be incredibly surprised. But, you know, and the other thing, obviously, people have been saying is that, you know, if she did, would you be in it? And I'm just thinking, well, at this point in time, no, is the answer, because I've, you know, done it for 10 years, and that's a long time. But I'm also being careful to qualify that with better men than me have changed their mind.
Right. Even Connery went back to Bond.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So, no, but at this point in time, I think it would be, I don't want to say a step backwards, because these films have been so good to me, but, you know, over the next few years, I'm going to be working very hard to establish myself as an actor outside of this series, and it would seem like possibly a bit self-defeating if I went back to